Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back to the Roger Stone Show. Now we're going to be joined in a conversation with an old friend of mine, a PR wizard, also an incredible big band vocalist, anti-animal cruelty activist, an extraordinary human being, a fashionista, much like myself. He and I both appreciate the Hermes, the Louis, the Gucci, a man of high style who's only recently become a Floridian. So now he's part of Florida man, a straight shooter, and a very talented friend, Christian Josi. Christian, welcome to the Roger Stone Show.
Is that my buddy Roger there? I'm flattered. I don't know what to say in response to that, but thank you, and it's good to be with you, buddy. You know, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about the situation in Iran because you had some very clear, I think, strong thoughts about the importance of a free Persia, that ultimately a democratic republic with free, open elections, true free speech, and true democracy. You saw correctly this strike against Maduro to be the first step in that process. So, and you talked to me about your deep feelings on this, so I wanted to have you on and get your take on all this.
Well, you know, I'm a Zionist, and I'm tired of BS, I should say. You know, it's just kind of like the time is now to end this regime that has been terrorizing the American people since 1979. I remember it when I was a kid. You know, it's just over. It's not Iran, it's Persia, and the Persian people are beautiful people, right?
Absolutely.
When I was in college, there was a young lady who was with me, you know, in the like next dorm or whatever, and she told me the story of how her family was driven from the so-called Iranian Republic because her father was a tailor for the Shah. Right?
Yeah,
so when the mullahs took over, you know, they literally tried to kill everybody, and I saw the bloodstained shirt. And you know, I think if we can change the regime at the moment, we can really change the world, and that's my take.
Yeah, I agree with that. Look, I think it's important to recognize that under the Shah, you had a very cosmopolitan and kind of a very economically strong country where women had rights and where there was where the quality of life was very strong. The Shah was brutal on human rights. We recognize that, but they were also loyal allies to the U.S. That's why I agree with Nixon when he said that Carter's betrayal of the Shah was a mistake. But that does not mean that I think the country now should return, you know, like through some birthright to the Shah's son. There's a very substantial movement supporting that. How much actual popular support it has on the ground in Iran is really open to question, in my opinion. I get all the bots and the videos and so on, but I don't know that it's real. There's also the MEK, which holds itself out to be a democratic resistance. I have some concerns about whether they really support their stated political goals of a secular democratic republic in Iran, free elections, political pluralism, gender equality, separation of religious and state, abolition of the State Department. But there is some real question whether they're real, or whether they are really committed to a secular democratic alternative, or whether they really are compromised by the current regime.
Well, and I hear everything you say, and I'm with you. It remains to be seen, right? I mean, it's like we've been through this stuff before, and I think at the end of the day, I think there's an end of an era here where you can't behead women for wearing hijabs. You can't, or for not wearing hijabs. You can't behead homosexuals. You can't, just mess with people all the time. It's like this is a new era of freedom, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it down south, and we can talk about that if you want. But it's just like it's over. It is over. In any regime, any tyrannical, terroristic regime is done, and that's good news for everybody. And who deserves credit for that.
Yeah, no, this was an incredibly stunning move by Donald Trump, but once again, it's the limited use of power, it's the surgical use of power. Unlike the Bushes, who gave us endless foreign war and hundreds of thousands of troops, mass casualties, but billions of dollars, to our cronies. I never understood how, as vice president, Dick Cheney could take his Halliburton stock, because he was the head of the company and he knew what he owned, and put it into a blind trust. But if it's in the trust, how does it blind? And Halliburton gets multi-billion-dollar contracts from the illegal, false-based war in Iraq.
Do you want to hear, though, the most beautiful thing? I mean, we were involved, obviously, in Venezuela, and we all know that story, right? But the most beautiful thing about what's happening in Tehran is we have no involvement in this. We are not on the ground. We don't have ships. This is all about the people pushing back. And let it happen.
Particularly given the brutality of the regime, these are very, very brave people. That's why you can see they have been pushed by the economic conditions and the living conditions in the country to the brink. This does not appear to be a CIA funded psyop. This is a legitimate uprising of the people, and they risk of being killed. I mean, just to be fair, the MEK, despite a controversial past, the supporters say it's a disciplined resistance movement. It has exposed Iranian regime abuses and the nuclear activities of the current regime, but it does have some very strange internal practices. They don't really appear to have support in the country. A number of their members were brutally assassinated. They were hunted down and killed. There was mass execution of their members, by the mullahs. So, but I don't think that they are the answers. Anybody, I think, should be able to compete in elections. Elections are something you and I know a great deal about. I do want to comment on your album Legends, which is available on Spotify. You have 6 albums, but this one I think is by far your best. And there's a cut in there of Witchcraft, which of course is a Frank Sinatra signature song, which you just slay. You slay it. You kill it. You own it. It's so good.
Well, thank you. I do music on the side. I've done it for a long time. I produce music, but to hear that from you, my brother, is super cool.
What was most impressive about this, in all honesty, was the arrangement is extraordinary. I mean, this is Nelson Riddle stuff. I mean, this is.
If you want to hear quickly about the Legends record, there's 18-member orchestra. It was the musical director was Tony Bennett's musical director, and my longtime producer, who is now unfortunately passed away. And we just, we did it at the Power Station in New York City, and it was just in the big room where some of the greatest records ever have been made. And, we had that fortune unfortunate opportunity. So thank you for mentioning it.
When I listen to it, and again, the name of the table is Legends. Christian Josi, which is spelled Josi. Christian Josi, a longtime friend of mine. This is it is an extraordinary album, and I picture you in my mind in a cream-colored, shawl-lapelled tuxedo jacket, black tie.
Brother Stone collection suit.
Crooning into a microphone in a nightclub in 1944, somewhere anywhere from the late 30s to the 40s. It's very, very hip. I think it's very cool.
I've done it 1,000 times, but as I told you, and if I can keep you for one more second, I was in D.C. a couple of weeks ago, and I was in the Armani store because I have a passion for Giorgio Armani, and I'm sad that we lost him recently. As you obviously keep an eye on fashion as well.
He's a giant.
And there was this midnight blue tuxedo. It was like $3,500, right? And I sent you a note about it. And you're like, oh no, go to the Roger Stone collection, which I'm going to do, and everybody else should. So there you go.
If you go, there's a great website called Etsy.com, another one called Poshmark.com. Both of them, these things can be found in gently used or sometimes what they call new old stock. So you do the idea that you have to be wealthy to be well dressed or stylishly dressed is just not so. If you're willing to shop and buy things online and shop a bit, I mean, a $3,500 pair of Gucci loafers can go in pretty good condition for $350 if you know where to look.
That's truth. I'm sitting here in this hotel in the Panhandle of Florida, which is a beautiful place to be, by the way. And there are people running around in their pajamas, and when I go downstairs, and it's ridiculous. Like our Secretary of Transportation said, Duffy recently, stop walking around in pajamas, man. Just show up for something.
Yeah, I don't understand this idea of those on airplanes wearing gym clothing or sweatpants and I agree that there used to be a certain decorum when flying. That used to exist. People dressed up a bit. I'm not saying everyone should necessarily.
These people in the Atlanta airport, with their gigantic pillows. It's like, why are you bringing a pillow on the plane, man?
But we are to the point where air travel is not the joy it used to be, or the fun that it used to be. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Kristi Noem, but the one thing she does seem to have achieved is I no longer have to take off my shoes for no reason whatsoever. And I probably never did. I'm for airport security, but I must say I like the fact that I no longer have to slip off my horse-bit Gucci loafers before I go through the airport security system.
I agree with you on that one 100%. Can I tell you one thing before we go?
You have 1 minute before the break, and then we'll come back with more.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you real quick. So you mentioned my music. So I've been watching. I watched the Mamdani inaugural, and you're on WMAL, so it matters there, right?
ABC. Go ahead.
WABC. Sorry, I was on WMAL earlier. Forgive me. But when Rudy Giuliani was inaugurated, I sang with Lionel Hampton for his inaugural, and I watched him dance with his then wife. And it was a very, very different day in New York City, and I just hope that the current mayor, can keep things together.
Yeah, no, Lionel Hampton played at Richard Nixon's inauguration, and the famed jazzman and band leader was a lifelong Republican, a very good friend of the sitting vice president, which is, of course, a little-known fact. Mamdani this is going to be a very interesting experiment. I noticed that for his photos yesterday, he took up a seat on the public transportation on the subway that should have been reserved for somebody who was elderly or disabled. that's the kind of mayor that you have. So for a photo op, disgusting. We'll be right back with a little bit more of my good friend Christian Josi. We're back on the Roger Stone Show, talking to my friend, PR Wizard, newly becoming a contributor to Al Jazeera, style maven, big band vocalist, stylist, vocalist, amazing, just amazing, very talented fellow. Now living in the congressional district of my good friend down there, Jimmy Petronas. Jimmy Petronas was a real bulldog, a watchdog for the taxpayers as the state CFO, and won that seat after my other friend Matt Gaetz resigned from the Congress to shortly vie for the position of Attorney General, then land over at OAN, where he does a great show. So we're glad to have you in the Sunshine State. No one here wears a necktie. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and it's awesome. I mean, I walk around in board shorts, so, you know, I mean, I love my Gucci loafers, but I only use them when I go to D.C. You know, when I'm down here, it's flip-flops.
Yeah, I mean, it is an easier lifestyle. It's also true in South Florida. You wear a suit and tie, you're a freak. Sometimes I'm amazed at the people who dress so, I don't know.
But as I mentioned earlier, I will wear board shorts and flip-flops because it's the beach, but, like, there are people running around in their pajamas. I do not walk around in my pajamas.
Yeah, no, I read you on that. I was about to say, sometimes the outfits that people show up in church with surprise me, but, you know, my mother always taught me, and every Sunday we had to get dressed, put on our Sunday best, and I had to have my little necktie, and my sisters had to have their dresses, and my parents got dressed up. My dad put on the only suit that he owned, and my mother put on a nice frock, and we would go to church, and that's what we were taught you did in church. But today, the important thing, of course, is that they get there, and I respect the fact that they get there. God doesn't really care what you're wearing. I recognize that. It's just it's an old time formality, perhaps. I'm
trying to be more aware of because when you live in Florida, you can walk around, in shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops, but I'm trying to be a little bit more careful with how I walk around, because you more than anybody know that style and fashion matter to me as they do to you, and but you get a little lazy when you're at the beach, Yeah,
no. I think when you're in your more creative phases, I don't listen to sit around and write. I don't wear a suit, and I don't claim that I do, and I certainly don't sleep in one. But on the other hand, people treat you differently depending on how you're dressed up. You have a lot of interpersonal relationships, business meetings, or where you're not on the computer. I found early in my political career that people treated me with a greater degree of respect and seriousness if I was well-groomed and relatively well-dressed. And even then, I knew you could go online and buy things that weren't new or that were gently used, or what they call new old stock, for pennies, what they would cost you, on retail, and still be well-dressed. Every gentleman must have every gentleman, I know you agree with this, must have a navy blue blazer. It could be single-breasted, it could be double-breasted. Now,
I found you'll love this. You will love this. I found an old school Gucci blazer on eBay.
Oh, that's good.
that I got and that I had dry cleaned, and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, no, eBay is another great source of classic stuff that is no longer made. All right, we have to go. I think we have to wrap it there. I want to thank our friends, the raconteur, the boulevardier, the bon vivant, the man about town, Christian Josi, for joining us.
Can I tell you 2 things, Roger, real quick?
You have 1 minute, exactly.
Thank you for your respect for animal rights.
Oh, thank you.
Animal welfare, as I call it. I don't like to say animal rights, but and also, thank you for being an inspiration to me and such a great friend. And it's nice to be able to join you today.
All right, I appreciate that, and we've done great things to protect harmless, defenseless animals from cruel scientific experiments by the federal government under Obama and Biden, and now once again being outlawed by our mutual friend Donald Trump. Thanks for joining us today.
We got marijuana done.
I was about to get to that, but we ran out of time. Take care. Thanks.
My brother.
Thanks for listening to The Roger Stone Show. You can hear The Roger Stone Show Sunday afternoons at 3. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.